That electric bill lands like a punch to the gut. You didn't ask for a 110-degree week. You didn't ask for a rattling window unit that sounds like a diesel engine and runs 24 hours a day. But there it is, $200, sometimes more, just to sleep in your own house. And if you're on a fixed income, that's not just money. That's a week of groceries. That's the prescription you put off. That's the thing you don't tell your kids about because you don't want to worry them. Here's something nobody ever sat you down and told you. They didn't teach it in school. Your parents probably didn't know it either, because by the time you were growing up, the utility companies had already won. The whole country got wired up. The AC units showed up in every hardware store window. And the old ways, the ways people actually survived brutal summers for generations, just quietly disappeared. So if you've been running that air conditioner flat out every July and August and wincing every time that bill comes, I don't want you to feel bad about that. You were never shown another way. The system made sure of it. My name is Walt Hollis. I've been sailing solo for going on 35 years. Coastal runs, open ocean, stretches where the nearest port was 4 days out. Out there you learn one thing fast. You fix it with what you have, or you don't fix it at all. There's no calling a repairman in the middle of the North Atlantic. And I'll tell you, some of the hottest conditions I've ever been in weren't at sea. They were in a boat cabin sitting in a marina in the Chesapeake in August. No shore power, no generator, dead calm outside. I figured out how to make that cabin livable. Not comfortable the way a hotel room is comfortable. Livable. Cool enough to sleep, cool enough to think. And it didn't cost me a single watt of electricity. I'm going to show you exactly what I did, and exactly how you can do the same thing in your house. I've got nothing to sell you. No kit, no product, no affiliate link. Just the method. Here's the thing that took me years to understand, and once I understood it, I couldn't unsee it. You don't need cold air. You need moving air. Those are two completely different things, and the whole HVAC industry has spent decades making sure you never figure out the difference. Your body doesn't cool down because the air around it is refrigerated. Your body cools down because sweat evaporates off your skin, and evaporation requires airflow. A breeze, even a gentle one, can make 85-degree air feel like 72. Your electric company knows the temperature outside. Your AC contractor knows what Freon costs, and neither one of them has any interest in telling you that a well-placed piece of fabric and an open window might do most of the job for free. Their business runs on your assumption that comfort comes out of a compressor. It doesn't. It never did. Sailors knew that. Desert cultures knew it. Farmhouses in the American South were built with it in mind. High ceilings, cross-ventilation, sleeping porches. Every day you drift along without a plan. Money slips overboard. A little here, a little there. You don't feel it sink until you look down and the hold's near empty. I spent 40 years at sea, and I'll tell you straight, what leaks slow still sinks the ship. That's why I wrote down every lesson the ocean beat into me. How to make things last, waste nothing, and stop the leaks before they drown you. You can keep losing a little each day, or you can patch the hull now. Don't wait for the water to reach your knees. Scan that QR code on your screen right now, or tap the link below. Get my guide today. That knowledge got buried when the power grid arrived, but it didn't stop being true. Let me explain what's actually happening when you cool a space without electricity, because once you understand the physics, the method makes perfect sense. Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. At night, and this is the key word, night, the air outside drops. It gets heavier, it sinks, and it starts to flow. If you give that air a way in and a way out, it will move through your space. Moving air against your skin accelerates evaporation. Evaporation pulls heat directly out of your body. Meanwhile, if you hang something damp, a sheet, a towel, in that airflow, the evaporation off the wet fabric actually cools the air itself by several degrees before it ever reaches you. That's not a trick, that's physics. That's the same principle as a swamp cooler, which the American Southwest has used for 100 years. You're not fighting the heat. You're using airflow and moisture together to carry it away. No compressor, no Freon, no meter spinning. Just the natural behavior of air and water doing exactly what they were always going to do. Now here's the exact method, step by step, and I want you to follow this precisely because the details matter. First, you're going to build what sailors call a wind scoop. Go to any fabric store and buy 1 yard of ripstop nylon or heavy canvas, something that holds its shape. Dark colors absorb heat, so pick white or light tan. Cut it into a rectangle roughly 24 inches wide by 36 inches tall. Fold the top edge down 2 inches and sew or iron bond a hem. Then thread a wooden dowel, 3/8 inch diameter, cut to 26 inches, through that hem so the top holds open flat. Tie a length of paracord to each end of the dowel. That's your scoop. Now find the window in your house that faces whatever breeze tends to come from in your area. Usually that's south or southwest in most of the country, but you know your own house. Open that window 8 to 10 inches. Hang your scoop outside that window, angled downward toward the sill, using the paracord tied to a hook, a nail, or even wedged under the sash. The angle should be about 45 degrees, like a funnel. The scoop catches moving air and deflects it downward into the room. Now, and this is critical, go to the opposite side of your house. Find the window on the far wall and open it all the way. Not halfway, all the way. Cross ventilation only works when the exit is as open as the entrance. If you block the exit, the air stalls and you get nothing. Do not run a fan blowing inward on the scoop side. That kills the pressure differential. If you use a fan at all, put it on the far side blowing outward, which pulls air through rather than pushing it. Now, here's something almost nobody your age has ever been told. The folks who weather hard times aren't the ones with the most. They're the ones who learn to do the most with little. I learned that at sea, where there's no store, no help, no second chance, just you and what you packed. There's one simple habit that changes everything, and most people go their whole lives never hearing it. I put it in my guide, plain as a compass heading. No riddles, no nonsense, just what works when the storm rolls in. You owe yourself one look. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link down below before you scroll past and forget. Next, take a cotton bed sheet, not synthetic. Cotton breathes. Soak it in cold water. Wring it out until it's damp but not dripping, and hang it across the interior doorway of the room you're sleeping in, or from a tension rod in front of the open window on the intake side. As the air passes through that damp sheet, it drops in temperature. You will feel the difference within 10 minutes. One hard rule: do this at night, starting around 9 or 10 p.m., when outside air has actually cooled below your indoor temperature. If outside air is still hotter than inside, you are pumping heat in. Check it with a $5 indoor-outdoor thermometer. Only open up when outside is cooler than inside, and re-wet that sheet every couple of hours if you can. Once it dries out, you lose the cooling effect. Now I'm going to be straight with you because I think you deserve that. This method has limits, and I'd rather tell you now than have you try it on the wrong night and give up. If the air outside is completely still, no movement at all, the scoop has nothing to catch and the system doesn't work. You need at least a light breeze, even a gentle one. If you live somewhere where the nighttime humidity stays above 70%, parts of Louisiana, coastal Florida, some areas along the Gulf, the evaporation effect is reduced because the air is already saturated. It still helps with airflow, but the damp sheet trick loses some of its punch. And if you're in a sealed apartment building with windows that only open a few inches, cross ventilation may not be possible at all. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. On those nights, in those places, this isn't your full answer. But for the majority of American nights, in the majority of homes, this works. And even where it's only partial, it's partial for free. There's something I used to say to myself on long passages. When things got hard and I was tempted to reach for some expensive fix, I'd say, the sea doesn't owe you comfort, neither does summer. But a prepared person doesn't need to be owed anything. Here's what I want you to do this week. Not someday, this week. One afternoon, one trip to a fabric store, maybe $12 out of pocket. Rig the scoop, open the far window, hang the damp sheet. Try it one night and see what you feel. Come down here to the comments and tell me what happened. I read them. If it worked, I want to know. If it didn't, tell me your setup and we'll figure out why. And if you've got an old trick of your own, something your grandmother did, something you picked up somewhere along the way, share it. That's how this works. That's how it always worked, before people decided we all needed to buy our way out of every problem. Next time, I'm going to show you what to do with your windows during the day. A trick that cuts how much heat gets in by almost half, and it involves something most people already have in their garage. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and stay cool out there.